Welcome back to this week's episode of Driven to Live. We're your host. This is Jesus Garcia. I am Stephen Rivers. We are excited to be with you this week after taking a week off. We have a lot to cover because of that. We got New York Auto Show news. We got the Autopian getting sued for calling something a little bit goofy. We've got reviews on cool stuff, Hyundai Kona, and the Kia Carnival. Volkswagen has a new ad that has ruffled Jesus's feathers. The next Supra is not going to have any BMW parts in it, as far as we can tell at this point. And Chevy has a new 6.7 liter V8, a big engine. Also, an older vehicle decided to nearly end the podcast by killing Jesus. Let's start with that story, Jesus. What happened with the T-Bird?
Well, I mean, I have a '64 Thunderbird that I rescued last year. It was stuck in the garage for 20 years. Pulled it out. We got it running in. It's parked here in my apartment complex next to my other beater cars, my work truck, and my police car. It's been sitting there for a few months. I start up every now and then. But recently, it decided to just say, hey, I don't want to use these brakes anymore, and just drift out of its parking space and just drift to the middle of the road at night. So I had no idea until the
Oh,
morning.
thank goodness you were not in the vehicle. I thought he was
No.
in the vehicle, everybody.
Oh, God, no. No, my neighbor called me in the morning. He's like, hey, your car's in the street. First off, which car? And I had to look out my balcony. Sure enough, there it is, just leaving a puddle of God knows which fluid underneath. Okay. Um, I'm going to figure out what the issue is this weekend. I'm assuming it's been leaking brake fluid and it just ran out and took off. So I had to push it back, which is, they made cars heavy in the 60s. Got it back, bought some blocks for it. It ain't going anywhere, but it's just one of those things. Like if you have a car that's properly old, like we're talking like 20th century old, you're gonna notice they can just do whatever they want whenever they want. They do not abide by the rules that you and I do. They just say, hey, you know what? I don't feel like having brakes. Hey, you know what? I don't feel like burning gas. Hey, you know what? I don't feel like having lights at this moment. Doesn't matter. It's like you figure it out. It just doesn't matter. He's like, I just fixed you. Yeah, but I just don't feel like doing it today. So good luck with that. Which is part of the charm of having an older vehicle, a classic car, whatever you want to call them. But that was surreal. And I was just counting my lucky stars. Like, all right, the car drifted out of its parking space, didn't hit anything else, didn't pop a curve, didn't sideswipe another vehicle. The neighbors didn't yell at me. Thankfully, I don't have any Karens in this apartment complex. Nobody called me to yell. Nobody called a tow truck or the police to say, hey, get this old junker out of here. So, whoosh, close call. And I got to fix the brakes in that car and figure out what's going on. Because, again, I guess I should thank that car for letting me know, hey, I don't have any brakes while it's parked instead of while I was driving on the highway.
Yeah, fair play. Fair play.
That would have been another ordeal in itself. I would have just kept on driving until I ran out of gas and slowly coast to a stop.
I know how you feel. I've never had a vehicle roll away from me, but I have been in families where that's happened. And in terms of stuff that goes bad that just breaks, like, dude, I spent thousands of dollars, I think late last year, getting all the timing stuff, like, fixed on the Ford Flex. Only for, like, a month and a half ago to start hearing the same sounds from the engine and being like, I think someone screwed something up while they were doing this, and I had taken it to a shop that I love, that I super trust. So I was really weirded out that there was any problems at all. Took it back, and I still don't have it. It's been there, like I said, about a month now. And apparently it is the timing actuator now on the back of the engine, something that we have evidently not even touched in the thousands of dollars that I've spent having the whole thing torn apart. Pretty sure it's going to be similarly expensive. At some point, it's going to be prohibitive, and I'm going to have to find a partner out there willing to help me do a super cool project where we make it V8 and rear wheel drive.
Yeah. Good.
Old cars, man. As much as I love them, and as much as you and me like praise them for not being connected to the internet and like all the pitfalls that come with that, with privacy and being able to do your own thing, we could talk about that too. We didn't even mention it, but Tesla shut some cars down this week remotely. As much as they're nice, they do sometimes just decide to stop working.
Well, look, there's a silver lining. Like I have a 2013 Mazda 3. That's the first car I bought new from a dealership with like 40 miles. It's brand new. Right now it's sitting at close to 136,000. It's around 135 and change. My dad took it to a tire shop to get a flat fit patched up, and he noticed took the wheel off. He noticed the brake discs and the pads on that car, which are from the factory. I've never changed them. They've never squeaked, never rattled. They are still in workable order. The disc hasn't even been scratched. The pads still have plenty of gum on them. I can still stop. I'm like, this little car is a trooper. The only thing I've ever changed in that car since I've owned it since 2013 has been two batteries, tires, oil that I've done all of it on my own every 5,000 miles, and a horn. That's all I've ever done to that car. It's a rock. And right now, with gas the way it is saving my dad from driving a V8 truck all day. And it's a manual, so even better.
Oh, that's awesome. That's super awesome. Um, it's a pitfall. You got to kind of pick and choose your battles, right? And I think you and me are both in the camp of like actually owning the car outright's a big deal. Uh,
Not having a payment.
yeah,
That's the. It's kind of like, well, the people say, well, you're spending all this money on keeping the car alive. So yeah, but it's not every month,
yeah,
which is the benefit. Like, I'm not
yeah,
spending $1,000 a month just to lease it. No, I own it, and occasionally I have to put some money into it.
yeah. All right, let's move on from that. What do you want to talk about next? We got a lot of great topics this week. What do you
Well,
think?
let's talk about the 2027 Supra. That's
Yeah,
we were
2027
kind of
Supra.
we talked about it a few months back, where they announced it. All right, 2026 last year is going to be killed off, and it's kind of like, well, it's going to in the air. Like, well, what's the new one going to be? It's going to be a hybrid. It's going to be a V8. What's it going to be? What we can say, because they kind of addressed it last year, is that this new Supra is going to be 100% Toyota, 100% GDM. It's not going to have a BMW engine or share a platform with the BMW. Basically, when the BMW killed off the Z4, that was it. Because like, all right, so Toyota and BMW were kind of like splitting the bill, going Dutch on the cars. Like, hey, look, we'll share platform costs, but when BMW said, hey, we're not making the Z4 anymore, so it's up to you to pay full price, Toyota's like, all right, well, we'll kill off this generation of the Supra just as a cost benefit move, and then start from scratch all over again. Now they're saying this new Supra is going to be all in house, and they're already talking about 600 horsepower. As to what kind of engine it's going to be, supercharged, turbocharged, hybrid, what are we going to do? We still don't know yet, because we won't know until probably later this year, because they're still stating it that it's going to be a 2027 MK6 generation Supra. But bad news for all those haters, because they're not going to be able to say, oh, it's a BMW under the hood, because that is over. No more. It's going to be all Toyota once again. So we're excited about that.
Yeah, best car is cited by Forbes, saying that the new engine is going to be a 2-liter hybrid powertrain pumping out around 400 horsepower. If you're able to watch us on YouTube or somewhere that shows video, you'll be seeing that on screen right now. That doesn't sound very inspiring to me, if I'm totally honest, but it does sound realistic. It does sound like something Toyota would do. Is hybrid 4-cylinder. They got so many of them out right now. Would not shock me, is all I'm saying.
Well, look, if they do stick with this plan, I hope they don't call it the IMAX Force, because to this day, I think it's the dumbest engine name ever.
It's
It's
not very
confusing,
inspiring.
not inspiring. It sounds stupid, terrible. Just call it a hybrid, man. It's fine. And if they're gonna do that, I wonder if they're gonna do the same thing we do with the Tundra and the Sequoia, is with are they gonna pipe in fake audio noise to kind of make it sound more robust, more baritone than what it actually is? Because it's a Supra, so it has to be it has to sound provocative, it has to be loud and sporty-ish. So, and 2.4 liter hybrid engines technically don't sound that exciting.
Sad,
So
sadly, I would be shocked. Uh, I would be shocked if if they if they do something really special with this. It would be a surprise to me. I don't expect it to be anything out of the ordinary. You know, it'd be nice. Put the engine from the GR into it,
yeah,
like a detuned version. That'd be dope.
if they're sticking with this engine, that means they're gonna go all out on the styling because that's gonna have to be the next angle they're gonna push. Like, oh yeah, yeah, no, it's hybrid, but look, it's so pretty. That's got to. I know it's hybrid, but look, it's got 400 horsepower and it looks so pretty. Come over here, buy it. And maybe they'll make a high tuned spec version with 600 horsepower because at this point in 2026, 400 horsepower is basically like base point now.
It really is. You're right.
People have 400 horsepower. We need more. We need more.
Yeah, especially at that point. I really feel like that's a key. That's a key figure here, right? Like when Corvette went to 400 horsepower, that was a big deal. Um,
Well, I mean, case in point, a brand new top of the line Tundra gives you 437 horsepower from their hybrid engine. It's a truck. Does it need 400 horsepower? Not really, but it has
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Supra has to have much more.
yeah. Speaking of horsepower, we got an all new V8 from Chevy debuting with the Grand Sport and the Grand Sport X, 6.7 liters. Am I crazy? Does that make it a 427?
That's no 427 is a bit bigger, but it's close. I think it's like a 409 at this point. It's close to there.
That sounds right. 409 sounds right.
Yeah, because I mean, maybe my Cadillac, it's a 500, that's 8.2, and I have a 454, that's about 7.3, 7.4. Someone correct me on that, but if you would have told me 3 years ago, like, oh, GM's gonna keep making new V8s, I would have said, nah, man, they're all going electric. So glad I was proven wrong. Look at this.
Yeah,
A
you're
new
right. It's a
V8
409. Just so everyone's clear, Jesus was totally on the money.
409, which means that's a throwback to the early 60s Impalas when he came with the 429 Super Sport. That was a big
Did
daddy car.
the did the Bel Air have a 409?
You could option it with it in the early
There you go.
60s, 61, 62. That was even the Beach Boys came out that's with their song, the 409. Plus, it's just a great tiny name, 409. But I'm excited because that 6.7 is going to be in everything. It's going to be trucks. It's going to be in the Corvette. It's going to be in the new Camaro. They bring it out and they'll mess it up and make it into an SUV. If I know Buick's there's been rumors to make like a new sedan. Cadillac, if they make another Blackwing, that's going to have the V8s. It's like V8s forever. Add more turbos. Add a supercharger.
Yeah.
They just made their new small block Chevy. Well, this is now it's a bigger block, but when GM makes a V8, they use it in everything.
You're right.
So I'm
You're right. They're
hoping,
getting all their money out of it.
yeah, I'm hoping this has they fixed these issues as like the 6.2, which has been kind of like wet in the bed the past couple of years. Hopefully they fix that. This 6.7 is just solid as a rock and puts a lot of smiles on our faces with a nice V8 rumble and 530 horsepower. That is a sweet spot in my opinion. That is plenty of power to get you in trouble, get you out of trouble, and let you enjoy a Sunday. It's perfect. Especially if you can run like regular pump fuel, flex fuel, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'll tell you, dude, since I drove the green one that you and me have both driven, oof, it's like stayed in my head. Every time I see it, I'm just like, man, that is such a good car. I definitely
Really?
can't afford one, but I'm trying to think of ways to do so.
I mean, I can afford a clapped out C4 at the moment. That's about it.
Me too. Me too. I've always
Which
wanted to do a C4 Corvette cart build. Maybe that's something we do here for the podcast is like a Corvette cart build. I think
yeah,
those are so dope, dude. Just strip all the panels off, take all the stress off the engine, clean it up, make sure the engine's like dialed, running perfectly. Because even with stock horsepower, a, a stripped down C4 is pretty dang quick.
yeah, they had the tuned port injection V8s back then.
Yeah. Yeah. We could get a stick shift. You know what? We could even find one that's already got a bunch of body damage because we're going to rip it off anyway.
Yep, it's all plastic anyways.
I mean, save some money there. As long as the drivetrain's good, who cares about the rest of it?
But I'm seeing it now because there's still hope for younger generations. They still like older vehicles, and the C4 is becoming like an option for a lot of these younger generations. Like they just want a Corvette. Doesn't matter if it's patinaed out. Doesn't matter as long as it runs and drives, and they're just using it as a car. Because again,
Yeah.
people forget Corvettes. If you drive them well, they get decent gas mileage, and you can daily drive a Corvette. It is the everyday sports car.
Yeah, I don't know him very well, but maybe our listeners have seen Peter Holder. He's done some work with The Drive and a few other outlets. Again, I don't know him personally. We've talked once or twice maybe in the past about different stories that he's covered and I've covered. But I'm pretty sure his daily is a Corvette, or at least one of his cars is a Corvette. He just went, I think, from a C6 to a C7, if I understand correctly. And he posted specifically because I think his announcement to it was something like, "I finally broke down and got something with better fuel economy," and it's because he managed like over 30 miles per gallon somewhere. Well, totally doable, and like that just shows you how good the engineering has finally gotten on some of these cars, and how it's so bogus when you see like 12 or 13 mpg on something. Like it's because they quit caring.
Yeah.
It's because they figured out their cafe credits or whatever with other cars, and they just quit doing the engineering. But Corvette can get 30 mpg despite having a big V8 and really just being a proper suitable track car.
Because they haven't messed with the formula. Keep it light and add more power.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yep. All right. Let's move on from Corvette talk to what do you think? You want to talk NASCAR?
Let's do NASCAR. That's an interesting topic.
So you know more about this than I do. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's not a lot, but it's enough to address it. And my apologies to any people who are dedicated NASCAR fans. We are not, but we do enjoy the sport. And Frankie Muniz, it's funny because I met somebody recently who is devoted NASCAR writer. He's a NASCAR journalist, so he does all those things. And I asked him, "Hey man, what do you think about Frankie Muniz?" Because I always wondered if, or do people respect him or do they see him as just like some guy, some celebrity trying to make it and pay his way through to get into the sport, like you've seen other people. But apparently, he's like, no, he is a driver first, celebrity second. This is something he's always wanted to do. And he is, from what I can tell, not using his celebrity status or his celebrity money to race. He is doing it the old school grassroots ways of just finding sponsors and racing that way, which is, anyone will tell you it is difficult. And I like that recently because, they're doing the Malcolm in the Middle reboot. They used his NASCAR truck as a rolling billboard to promote the show. And I'm like, that is perfect cross marketing, in my opinion. Because if you're going to be on the show and race, why not put your face on the race car to promote your other work? So, no brainer. Yeah.
Totally agree. It's a great cross promotion. Clearly something that a lot of people love on both sides of that.
Yeah, plus it's a nice color. And I appreciate Frankie Muniz for doing this because him and I are kind of the same age, give or take a couple of years. And so the fact that he got into racing later in his life, I say later, but like early 30s, that gives me hope. Like, all right, I can still one day race. I just need a sack full of money to get into it. But
dude, how old is Cletus McFarland?
I would say late 30s.
31. He's 31.
Oh my god, I'm older than Cletus. Oh,
You're older than Cletus, bro.
that is depressing. But
Uh,
speaking of that, I asked them about Cletus too, and it's the opposite effect.
oh,
They don't respect him because they still see him as a YouTuber trying to get into NASCAR for the sake of being a YouTuber. Kind of like the Paul brothers in boxing. This is the same way. Like, dude, like I know you can drive, but you're not a NASCAR driver. You're a YouTuber wearing a NASCAR uniform, and so it's the opposite effect. As opposed to Frankie Muniz, they see him as a driver who's
you're
trying.
really gonna get your age ideas blown out of the water, bro. Frankie Muniz is 40.
Hey, oh damn, that's you're in
Even
a good.
better though for you.
Yeah, better for me.
You got
All
all
right,
kinds of time, dude.
I got some time. I got a few years. All I need is
Uh,
millions, and I'll get there.
I didn't know for sure. I didn't know for sure. I just wanted to. I had to Google it myself. He's older than me. That's insane because I'm like 400. Okay. Uh, kudos to him. Love his journey. Love what he's doing. I remember seeing him years ago. There was like a celebrity challenge, celebrity driving challenge, and it was like literally on track. It was like a celebrity track
Yeah, they would like
competition,
respect us, stuff like that.
and he was doing it. This is back like when he was still on the show. I think he was like 19 or 20, maybe the last year of the show or something like that. And dude, he was killing it. He was doing great. So he's loved cars for a long time.
Yeah, well, he bought the Fast and Furious Volkswagen Jetta. Remember that, the white one?
Oh,
The
I
first
didn't know that. That
he
does
owned it.
make sense though. That does make sense.
That was
Um,
just the screen used Volkswagen Jetta.
um, yeah, goodness. Um, let's see here.
Hey man, well look, I just talked Jetta, so let's talk about the Volkswagen story.
Good point. Good point. Good point. Yep. Let's do that next. This is going to be important for folks if you're just listening. Listen up. And if you are watching, you're going to get to watch a Volkswagen ad with us. So we're going to live react. No, we're not going to live react to it. But we are going to watch it together.
If we're not living it, what are we doing here?
Jump around, jump up and get down. Jump.
So?
Let's go. This is dedicated.
Okay, so that is Volkswagen's new Drivers Wanted ad. Now, that was a 31-second spot specifically played during the Super Bowl. I am sure that they have a minute and 32-second version of that, which I will not subject anyone to. Give me your first impressions there, Jesus.
Well, I noticed if you like me, you watched the ad. Very little cars in this car commercial.
Weird.
Yeah, especially and very little driving. Also, like it says, drivers wanted at the very end. Nobody
Yeah.
driving. Nobody was driving. They're
I
all
was just
outside.
gonna say that. There was really nobody behind the wheel, was there?
I didn't even see a steering wheel. Don't even get out of the driver's seat. They were like I saw a dog getting out of the back seat of I think a Jetta. I was like, or a Golf. Like, Trish, I saw a Volkswagen SUV pull a U-turn. Fantastic! Wow, riveting. But it's just people outside, the doors touching grass. Great, wonderful. But for an ad for Volkswagen, which at the very end says "Drivers Wanted," which is a reboot of a 1995 ad campaign, which back then made a huge ton of money for Volkswagen sales in the U.S. But back then, they actually did make cars that drove pretty nice, and they had a lot of variety. So what ruffled my feathers is like, all right, cool, you're gonna say drivers wanted. That is gonna be your tagline, which is a very cool tagline because you're basically saying, look, we want drivers wanted. Drivers wanted because we make cars for driving enthusiasts. And then you look at their lineup, there's nothing. It is a stale bread convention. There's nothing there for drivers. What do you want? Oh, you got T-Wog, big deal. Atlas, It's like, what about the Golf GTI? All right, get one with a manual. You can't anymore. There's nothing there.
Yeah. Pretty sad.
So I don't know who approved this, but like, hey, look, if you're gonna pull this ad out, maybe give us something before you run this ad. Build something. Give us a Passat with something snazzy. Nothing. So you didn't even have a cool van anymore because you killed off the ID bus.
That's a great point. It's so funny. I was just gonna say, like, of all the vehicles in the lineup, the ID Buzz might be the most engaging from a driver's perspective, just because it's actually powerful, it's rear-wheel drive bias, and it's surprising because you don't expect it to be any good to drive, and yet it's actually, like, of all the Volkswagens I've ever driven, which admittedly is not very many, that's probably my favorite because it's, again, like, properly quick. You'd never believe how quick it is unless you've been in it. It's actually fast. But I totally agree. Like, what a I don't get it. And if you know if you don't know me personally, you probably haven't heard this. I've never been a Volkswagen fan. I've always thought that they were they're the car company that sells cars to the people that I don't want to be on the road with, because none of their cars are passion projects. Not a single one, unless that passion is fuel economy. Every performance, and I mean this, every single performance car they have ever made is front-wheel drive bias, and in my opinion, that makes it too big of a compromise. Now, they played a huge role in the hot hatch segment becoming a thing, so kudos to them there. There's certainly room for fast, fun front-wheel drive vehicles. I've owned multiple Mini Coopers, for instance. They're all a joy, tons of fun. But Volkswagen has never been a car for drivers. Like, if you define yourself as a driver first, you're not looking at Volkswagen to buy a car unless you simply don't have another option, unless your resources limit you to a Volkswagen. Otherwise, you're looking for a Miata or a Mini Cooper or, Lord knows, a million other things before you're looking at a Volkswagen. So I don't understand the first campaign. Certainly don't get this one. I do see Volkswagen doing everything in their power to lean on nostalgia to get customers back in dealerships. That's what it seems like to me. The
It's funny.
Volkswagen. Go ahead.
Because I mean, I'm the opposite. I like Volkswagens, but I like Volkswagens from way back in the day, way back, like pre 1971 Volkswagen era. You know, that sweet spot. You know, post World War II. You know, before the oil embargo, that sweet spot right there. Me and my dad, we own about 5 Volkswagens. They're all Beetles and a bus. And driving an old Beetle, it's a handful. They're fun. It's engaging, especially when you tune them up. You can get some serious power out of these little engines, and because they weigh nothing. And so we have a '69 Beetle that's been properly modified. It'll do 80 on the highway. So we're passing people in this 50, 60-year-old Beetle just whizzing by. People are like, what is that? Just a little gnat on the highway. But you're right. Prior to those, they had the Carmen Gia, which looked like the poor man's Porsche, which is a gorgeous vehicle. And you can make power out of those rear-wheel drive, rear engine, air-cooled, manuals. A lot of fun. And it's funny because you see nostalgia. Volkswagen, I remember, I think it was last year, 2024, they came up with an ad, which is kind of taking them through the history of Volkswagen, and they just start at the 50s. They didn't go through the 40s. Like, hey, man, you were around the 40s, but you didn't want to disclose what you were doing in the 40s. And if you know your history, you know exactly why they didn't want to say that. And they got trolls for that because, hey, man, what happened in 1939 to 45? What, you guys didn't exist? You guys made the Beatles from 1932. What are you talking about? So that's hilarious how they cherry pick their nostalgia. They're like, oh, wait, man, we're Volkswagen. We did the hippie bus. We did Beatles. Don't worry about the Panther tank. We're going to do that. No, this is what we're doing. So I don't understand Volkswagen because we said it before. They have all the money in the world. They have all the brands under their umbrella to do some really cool stuff, and they just don't. And it's really frustrating. Considering all the parts bins they can just pick and pull from to create something really nice. Doesn't have to be something super flamboyant. It's just keep it simple. Just something that's a little bit rear-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, maybe rear-wheel drive biased. Something with a little bit of pep, a little bit of turbo, twin turbos, and give it 4 doors and lower to the ground. That it should be, and send it.
Yeah, Carmen Ghia is a interesting car. Like, clearly a lot of Volkswagen in that. Still not considered a hardcore Volkswagen necessarily because of its stuff. I would still say underpowered and underdeveloped on a suspension level, right? Chassis level. But I will say that if I had to buy a Volkswagen, it would probably be a Carmen Ghia.
They're pretty cars.
New Golf R is good. It's super closely related to the RS3, but having driven an RS3, I feel like I would be mad at the Volkswagen constantly because the RS3 is more playful, is more fun.
Plus,
has a retuned suspension and retuned rear differential. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
And I always liked the Golf R. I just hated the price for it. It's like, why are you asking so much for this? Like, I understand it's more powerful, but it's still just a Golf.
Yeah.
Like, why am I paying $55,000 for a hatchback?
Yep. When you could pay just a touch more and get the Audi and have a 5-cylinder engine, which is like actually interesting, actually fun and good. Yeah.
Pay for the same. So I'm still gonna pay for premium fuel and premium oil, all those expensive parts anyway. So.
And let's be clear, the RS badge, in my opinion, is super prestigious, right? Like, there's not a lot of RS models. One could argue that there are too many, like RSQ8 probably shouldn't actually exist. But RS6, legendary. RS4, legendary. I think RS3 totally deserves to be in that conversation after, like, I've spun one on a track, like, I've pushed them super hard, and they are just such a rewarding little car. Let's talk about something that has probably not been as rewarding as everyone wanted it to be, although I think more came out of it than we expected. New York Auto Show.
Yeah. Which we were not invited this year. And by invited, I mean no one paid for us to go there.
There you go.
But, usually with these kind of big shows, my algorithm blows up because we follow, a lot of our friends go to these events. And so we see people blowing up. Hey, check out this new thing, this new announcement, articles, video reels, all of it. This year, it's pretty quiet. My algorithm did not blow up with constant feeds of New York Auto Show live of segments of new announcements. I mean, you had the Crunch Pacifica, which we already talked about, and how deflating it looks compared, and even the badge on it is not. They changed the badge. Did you see that?
Yeah, I think we should dig into these two stories on the screen. If you're not watching on YouTube, again, we can't suggest that enough. Let's dive into the Chrysler first, because I'm so with you. I wrote this up and I tried to rip Chrysler in a very fair way. A glowing badge and welcome animation are the highlights here, which tells you a lot about where the Chrysler minivan stands right now. Like, I feel like that says it all, right? Like a glowing badge and a few little spruced up changes here, and that's what Chrysler is showing us after nearly a decade of selling this thing.
That press photo, that intro photo. I mean, because the front end is all blacked out from a distance, it looks like it's incomplete. It looks like it's missing its face.
So check this out. At least last time I checked, they kept these in. Look at how identical these two cars look. They are 10 years removed from one another, and yet, frankly, from the A-pillar back, they look identical. I mean, I don't know how that's possible. I don't know how 10 years at a brand that's basically just selling this. Now, to be fair, at the start of the decade, or at the start of 2017, they had 300 and 200, right? And then 300 leaves, or 200 leaves production pretty soon after. 300 stays until I think 2024 or 25. But, like, that's the same freaking van. What are you guys doing? And then look at the inside. This is the even crazier picture in my brain. Like, literally, the badge is different. Some of the trim is a little different. Like, the steering wheel doesn't have as much chrome silver trim on it.
Which is what I liked about the original one. First
Yeah, I mean, the 2017 actually kind of looks a little better, in my opinion.
It does. It had that two-tone steering wheel with a little silver line around it. When I first saw it, like, dude, that's kind of nostalgic in a way. It reminds me of the 50s Chryslers with the big steering wheels and a lot of chrome in it. It looked like they were kind of channeling that in a way. This 2027 was like, oh, yeah, you know that thing you liked? Got rid of it.
I mean, even look at the center console. The center console looks a little bit better in the old one.
Yeah, because the 2027 is bigger.
It's got extra storage. It's got cup holders. It's got all this other stuff. Like, even the dash design is the same. I just don't know what Chrysler's been doing for a decade, and I just want to know so bad.
And putting their thumbs have been doing jack. Someone's ripping Chrysler off.
I really, you know what I need to do, bro, is I need to go find a Chrysler employee, a disgruntled one, and get them to just spill everything. Like, explain to us what the heck y'all have been doing for a decade. Because we don't know, and we want to.
It's funny because now we live in an era when it's like, oh, but it's got TVs in the headrest. Like, who cares? Who cares?
You know, I'll say this. I care if they're not available. Like, QX80 is a great example. QX80 is what does it start at? Like 75? Some crazy number, right? And it's real easy to make a QX80 six figures. It doesn't matter how much you pay, you can't get a rear seat entertainment center in it, which makes no sense. So I care if it's not available, but I'm with you. Like, you can't just slap some TVs back there and go, well, we fixed it. It's funny, too, that the Chrysler's rear seat entertainment is the old school style that, like, flips up from the back of the seat. I guess maybe that's maybe that is a safety thing. Like, if you flip it down in its down position, it's hard to break it. And I can see, like, little kids, like, grabbing those things and, like, really being ridiculous to them.
As someone who drives a toddler somewhat occasionally, they love to kick.
Yeah.
All it takes is one size 4 croc, boom, to the screen, and that's it, game over.
Yeah. All right, so the other New York Auto Show story that I wanted to talk to you about was Hyundai's doing some crazy stuff, bro. And I kind of love that they are gonna build a body-on-frame Bronco rival. This is the Boulder concept, which looks real fuzzy in that shot. Let's see if I can get a better picture of it for everybody who's looking online.
There's one little nitpick I have with this vehicle. I love the name. I like body on frame. I like 37-inch tires. Cool, great. It just, and it's a Bronco fighter. It's like, yeah, because it looks just like a Bronco. It even has the same handles on the A-pillars. Like, it looks like a freaking Bronco. And people are making the comparison to the, I think, 2005 Bronco concept that they
it does. It looks exactly like that. You're right.
So I'm like, all right, guys, I appreciate body on frame SUVs. I love them, but damn, what are you doing? Did you just copy and paste it? Did you just ask AI, hey, can you enhance this photo of a Bronco, and we'll just run it? Like, it looks like ChatGPT designed it and just copied off old photos of the Bronco concept. Now,
There you go.
If
I
can
mean,
you enhance this for 2026 buyers? Sure thing. Here it is.
that is pretty similar. Kind of crazy. I'm like genuinely surprised that this is the direction that Hyundai went, honestly, after seeing them back to back. Because it is so similar. But I mean, we're kind of at a time where it's like, what else are you going to do? I think, if anything, Hyundai kind of modernized it just a little bit more.
Yeah, they made the fenders flared more.
Yeah. There's a few more round shapes in the Boulder compared to the Bronco.
But I do like the name Boulder. That's a good strong name.
Oh, totally agree. Great name. The proportioning looks good to me. Obviously, it's not going to look exactly the same, if and when it makes it to production. But the idea that this is basically going to go off the Tasman truck frame, like, that's perfect. That's exactly what they should do. It's going to be great. The interior looks good. A lot of physical controls on the interior. Like, yeah, bring it on. It can't be in production fast enough, I don't think.
No, and people will buy it. All those disgruntled people who don't want to pay $90,000 for a 4Runner, like, yeah, give me that Honda.
Yep.
So that's the thing. If they can keep it below 70 to just undercut all the Toyotas, they got a hit on their hands.
Yeah, I think you're right. Not to toot our horn, everybody, but we were right 2 weeks ago when we said that the Subaru was going to end up being a Highlander, the Subaru EV that they were teasing, 420 horsepower. Now the most powerful production Subaru in history. It is considerably more powerful than the Toyota Highlander with 388 horsepower. 0 to 60 in under 5 seconds is what Subaru says. So despite being the most powerful, it probably will not be the quickest, as we've already proven that the new Trail Seeker is the quickest. 0 to 60 in, I want to say 3.8 with rollout, so not too shabby. But yeah, the new Subaru Getaway, what a name, will be their version of Toyota's new Highlander. So beyond that, I'm totally with you, Jesus. I didn't really see much pop up from the New York Auto Show. Yeah. Genesis is going to create 22 new cars in the next few years. Some of those are just going to be trim levels, so I mean that's cool, I guess. Good for Genesis. That's cool.
Speaking of that, I saw this is like spontaneous, but I did see a video where this guy was just enamored. He was just flabbergasted that someone at a Genesis dealership was charging like $90,000 for a sedan. He's like, how are they? Like, yeah, because it's G90. That's their S class, and it's only not 140,000 like an S class, and it still does all the same things, probably even better than an S class. Because I've ridden in a G90. I've been driven in a G90, and yeah, it is fantastic. It's so cool. You don't feel like a CEO. You feel like a villain in this car, right in the back. Like yes, you feel like you're in charge of a world domination plan, just waiting to be enacted. Because it is that plush and that cool of a car. So yeah, it's funny. And I read the comments because these days social media posts, the comment sections are often more entertaining than the actual post, whatever it is.
You're totally right.
People are just like, dude, that's not just a Hyundai. That is a G90, man. That is tippy top of what Genesis can do. So I'm excited. The only car I really wanted to bring out is that Super Wagon that they debuted, the green one.
Yeah, what is it called? Wingback.
Yeah, that thing was so cool.
Heck
so,
yeah.
Dude, don't even offer any color options. Just make them all green. We'll buy it.
Yeah, totally agree. And we talked about it back then when they first showed it off. Dude, if they can bring that thing to market, even with an underpowered engine, and just sell it for way less because they didn't have to put any extra work into the V8, It'll still sell like hotcakes. People will love that.
Yeah. Give it a 1.6 liter diesel for all I care. People are gonna buy it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Speaking of news and press and things of that nature, we got to talk about the Autopian and BYD and all the craziness that's happening over there. This from, I'm assuming, friend of the show, Matt Hardigree, my sometimes boss. Why it's such a big deal that Chinese automaker BYD is threatening to sue us, and by us he means the Autopian. I'm going to scroll down to the part where they talk about the Instagram post just so everyone is up to snuff on what's going on here. This is from the Autopian. They posted an article that says Daniel Craig is now an ambassador for a Chinese EV company, and the photos are weird as hell. That's what the name of the article was. It's very Autopian of them. And I don't think it's crazy to say that, yeah, the photos are a bit strange. They're just kind of weird. Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Not ChatGPT Photoshop, like Photoshopped. Like someone in college is like, all right, copy and paste. There it is.
Yeah. And so it's like, he's not driving any of these cars. In fact,
No.
There's a chance that he was never even near one of these cars.
Or they just look at, hey man, just take some selfies with your iPhone and send them over through WhatsApp. Post them on.
Yeah. In two of the shots, he's like the same size as the car in the shot and emerging behind it. So he's just like this giant behind the car. And then in one shot, he's just off to the side of a car. And in one shot, he and some random woman who looks totally lovely, the two of them are blocking the vast majority of the car in the ad.
The sports car, keep in mind. The one you want to see.
Right. Right. But thank goodness the wagon and the SUV are on full display for us all.
And keep in mind, if you're not watching this, he's not smiling in any of these photos.
Yeah, he looks... I'm just going to say uncomfortable.
He looks like he's channeling James Bond after he just heard some terrible news.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah.
He can't show it because he's still being interrogated, so he's got to be stoic.
And I'm going to be totally honest, his hair looks real strange to me. I don't understand his haircut. His haircut's very odd in my opinion, or maybe just the way they styled his hair is kind of odd. Matt was kind enough to put the caption of the post in the article. Daniel Craig's Bond movies made billions across his 15-year tenure, but the former secret agent has turned towards modeling for China's EV brand Denza, and well, the photos are something. That's what was said.
Yeah.
That's not crazy, and in fact, I would argue that Autopian is known for sometimes going a lot harder than they went here. And that's part of what makes them so charming. In any case, they post this article, they post, a corresponding Instagram thread or reel or post, or I don't know Instagram. You guys know that if you follow me. You probably don't, which is fine because I don't know what I'm doing there. But the PR then reaches out on Instagram and says, based on this screenshot, hello, this content published outside of BYD and Denza accounts infringes copyrights permits. Please, in order to avoid legal action, we request you delete this content. Thank you in advance, BYD team. They confirmed that this was indeed the correct account and not a fake account. And so Matt responded with a GIF of Daniel Craig, which is hilarious, and then said, I found another scofflaw. I will tell them to pull it down immediately. And of course, he's just linking Clean Technica, who wrote an article about the whole situation as well.
Yeah. Because we got to reiterate, they used press photos.
Yeah,
for these
sorry. Yeah, Jesus is always saving me from myself. These are all press photographs that BYD and Denza put out themselves. They were like, here's the content. Do with it what you do, press.
showcase product.
Yeah. And
There you
so
go.
I'm just going to read what Matt wrote because he's going to say everything better than I can say it. He says, while I'll admit that using GIFs to reply was a tad provocative, I was hoping to highlight the complete absurdity of the request, given that these were press and marketing photos. I don't think they understood, because then he posts the rest of the conversation, which is them saying, appreciate your understanding, exclamation point, have a great day. So when he posted that he had found another scofflaw and that he was going to tell Clean Technica to take their post down to help, they thought he was being serious. Later, I'm trying to find the timeline here. I'm not sure what time. Later, the next day it looks like, BYD writes again, hello, we're seeing that the post is still live. Please proceed as discussed previously. Thanks. Matt says, I responded with a few more GIFs and tried to make my point a little clearer, asking if I should just tell all the other journalists who wrote about it that they should pull it. I was trying to get them to admit that the reasoning behind pulling our post had nothing to do with copyright permits, and as I suspect, was because it was perceived as being negative. BYD didn't respond and instead used the automatic copyright complaint portal on Instagram to have valid critique from a journalist pulled. And then he posts the screenshot of that, where Instagram says, we removed your post. Why this happened? The post may contain something that infringes someone else's copyright. This goes against our term of service on intellectual property. Matt writes, this isn't Instagram's fault. For practical reasons, Instagram pulls posts and allows for later appeal. If this stands, this will create a dangerous precedent, which is why we're going to appeal and why I'm making a big deal out of this. So we won't go through the rest. Go ahead, Jesus.
Oh, like he should, because all right, look, because first of all, this story, this article, they didn't say anything bad about the car or the product itself. Mostly we're just mocking Daniel Craig. It was like, why are you doing this? First of all right, if you're gonna do this for an obscene amount of money, hey, good for you, get your bag. But also, why does it look like that? It has nothing to do with the car itself or the brand. It's like why does it look like someone in freshman year in college did this hungover on Photoshop for tutorial? Why is it, considering the amount of money the guys they have at their disposal?
I'm going to tell you right now, knowing the guys over at Autopian, I'm not entirely sure that they even talk about this. If it's just Daniel Craig in some Denza stuff, and it looks totally normal. If it's like any other celebrity in a car ad,
yeah,
I don't think Autopian cares about it probably.
No.
But the fact that it's weird is what made it interesting enough for them to cover it, in my opinion. And like BYD could see that as a good thing if they just had the right perspective. Like,
yeah,
Matt's
most people here don't know what that company is.
yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's not a giant deal. It's just not a giant deal. And this is full on Streisand affecting them, is my understanding, is what I'm picking up here. So, like, man. Oh.
It is a, oh man, Steven just went dark for a minute. But we're still recording. All right, guys. If I'm flying slow for a minute. All right. So basically, BYD, Chinese automaker, we don't get them here. So the fact that this is, in a way, any publicity is good publicity. So I don't understand why they decided or who decided to address them this way, because you're poking the bears. Right? Because if you're going to decide, like, hey, you can use our released marketing and PR photos and call it weird because that's negative, then you're not playing the game fairly. Because what are we doing here? What at that point then are we just shelling product for you guys? Like, what is the problem here? We need to. This is if this copyright stands and Instagram takes it down because they're just following the rules based on what they're saying because they didn't just file a claim and say, hey, no, that's my copyright, whatever it is, then that is really chopping journalism at the knees here, which is already under attack by a variety of reasons. But the fact that Autotopia didn't outright say anything slanderous or libel, they just addressed like, hey, look at these photos. They look off to you, don't they? Without even addressing the fact that they didn't talk about car specs, they didn't talk about the car released because it's just a promotional ad, and it's weird that they're doing it. Funny enough, it is weird that they're acting this way. The fact that they're saying, "Hey, you can't do this," is basically liability. Is that liable? It's slanderous. Why take it down? And it's like, well, everybody else is doing the same thing. Why are we the ones that are being addressed to do this? It's just a weird precedent, and hopefully they can. I'm really curious to see how this story pans out, and maybe we'll get more traction even with just like regular news outlets because if this stands, they're the ones that's going to fall behind them, and so this is something that needs to be addressed firmly, swiftly before it goes out of hand because it's a dangerous precedent when a private company can just tell a news network like, "Hey, we don't have to what you said. Cut it off. Don't do that. Take it down. We don't want you to negatively promote our product, even though we're not talking about the product itself. We're just talking about the way we're marketing it. It's very weird, and hopefully they can address it. And Steven is still hasn't come back, so let's talk about what I'm driving this week. What I'm driving this week is the CX-90 Premium Plus plug-in hybrid from Mazda. That is their mid-size flagship SUV. I'm going to drive it tonight, the first time actually, because I just got it delivered. I've driven the CX-90 before when it first came out in 2024, and I thought it was very good in terms of value, in terms of money. Fantastic SUV. If you don't want a Honda, you don't want a Toyota, you don't want a Lexus, you don't want a Mercedes, Mazda, their styling right now is on point. The interiors have always felt really firm and well balanced in terms of build quality and just overall presentation. Very nice vehicle. And plus the plug-in hybrid, I'm assuming, and I'm going to find out, that it should get pretty darn good gas mileage considering the way things are right now. But before the 690, I had the 2026 Hyundai Kona Limited. Now the Kona, it is a fantastic little car in my opinion. I thought is not a hot hatch by any means, but it does look like a hot hatch that has been taking gear and steroids to grow up into just a bulky, bubbly SUV. It's nimble, it's quick. I thought it was a hybrid the first time I drove it until I looked at the spec sheet. Oh no, it's just a regular gas CUV, and I was still getting 26, 28 miles per gallon driving it. Is it exciting to drive? Not particularly, but it is a very comfortable vehicle to drive. And Steven is back. Hey man, I've just been ranting the last couple of minutes, making sure you're back on. I'm talking about the new Kona right now and how I drove that car for about 300 miles and I averaged 28 overall. Gasoline, not hybrid, not electric, even though it will fool you. If you tell people, hey, it's a hybrid, and it's like, nope, it's just gasoline, they'll be like, oh, shocked. And you can get one for a relatively decent price these days. And back seats, very spacious, plenty of room in the back. I do like the black cladding on the sides of the SUV. I like the RoboCop face that it has. It's just a real slim, full-length LED bar. Yeah, as I said, the one I drove was limited, top of the line model. But yeah, it's a decent small SUV. Like especially, it's great for college kids or people that just graduated from college and they need their first grown-up vehicle just to get around town. It's solid, man. Do recommend if you're in the market for something that's small, nimble, good fuel economy, and still has plenty of space to do, real world activities. Solid buy, in my opinion.
Yeah, 32 grand for the nicest one. That's not terrible at all.
And the one I drove with some options was 35 and a half around that space.
Not bad at all. especially when average transaction price is around 50, and used cars are going up now too. So it's like, I mean, 30, 35 grand, and you get something that's like basically as fully loaded as something in this category is going to get. Has some
Yeah.
really interesting styling, like engaging, interesting, not a boring looking car at all. Kind of hard to beat that for that money.
No, I was really pleased with it. It looks way better than the first generation and second generation that came out. They're kind of dorky. This seems like they finally had this glow up moment. They finally went to puberty and lost all the acne and went up a few cup sizes, whatever have you. It got bulkier, it got stronger. It looks really good, and it drives decently. Like, again, the one, it's only a gasoline, so it does have a small engine. So you're not gonna fly off the line, but it's perfect for just being practical.
What's
That's
the Kia version of it?
The Kia version, I think it's the Nero.
Seltos.
That's
Seltos.
for the same size. Oh, or the
It's the
Stelios.
Seltos.
The which one?
Seltos.
Seltos, yeah, that
The one I always forget.
Yeah, because that's a forgettable car compared to the Kona. That one is forgettable. The Kona kind of sticks with you a little bit. Like, I'm still thinking about that. Like, man, 20 miles per gallon. That was really sweet compared to my old truck in Crown Vic. But yeah, man, I was really impressed with it. Solid buy. And I think the range was like close to 400 miles. So if you're careful with it, you can stretch it out the gas tank. Real nice.
Pretty key these days, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of lots of range, Kia Carnival. Hot dang, dude. I had this thing for 2 weeks because I had to go out of town, and so they let me keep it an extra week. I could not have been more stoked. And,
it is a groovy van, man.
Dude, everything about this van rocks. It doesn't even really look that vanish from the side or the front.
Tell you what, it blows the 2027 Chrysler Pacifica out of the water.
Yeah, and it doesn't even need a facelift to do it. I also like this paint color. I like how it kind of changes depending on where the light's at. It looks really attractive. For those just listening, it's kind of like a blue greenish color that I had on the Carnival that I had. Mine was the top of the line with the very fancy seating system. Obviously 3 rows. The third row stowable. The second row has these luxury loungers. And let me tell you, dude, the ability to have someone chill out back there, fully relax on a road trip, literally kick their feet up. That's a special experience that almost no minivan offers, really.
No, I mean, when I had it, this was like a year ago. When I get a minivan, I love testing it by going to my friends who are a professional Might Ashley group here in town. I'm like, hey man, how many people in your group? 5? All right, get them all, and their instruments, pile in. I'm your roadie for the day. We're gonna do a whole day of gigs, and I'm driving. So we put about 100 miles on that full day, full Saturday, and it was 100 real miles, and that didn't even put a dent in its range, because this is like 600 plus range on full tank because it's a hybrid. And this was in the summer in Texas. We were not sweating because AC is ice cool. We were comfortable because everyone had space. Everyone was able to sit in their chairs with their full uniforms. Any spare stuff just got thrown in the back. Instruments, we all cruise around. Stereo cranked because, of course, I like to listen to music while we're driving. Just a fantastic tour bus.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Great car overall. Very grateful to Kia for letting me hang on to it and drive it. Totally impressive. I think I managed somewhere around 27 miles to the gallon. To be fair, I was not doing 65, which I'm sure is probably where you get the very best fuel economy.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't care because like in town, I was getting over 30 everywhere I went.
Yeah.
Totally impressive van.
And I'm going to speak to our generation because our generation, especially certain demographic, they don't like vans.
Yeah.
because we grew up with vans.
Yeah.
So they had that stigma, soccer mom. I implore you, forget that. Get that out of your head. Minivans right now are such fantastic vehicles and slept on by everybody because everyone wants an SUV. Minivans right now are doing things that are so cool. They drive nice. They're faster than they look. They got space for days. They're priced competitively with other SUVs. And man, in terms of like practicality, you can't beat them. Man. You can't beat a sliding door.
Yeah, you can't. And I've pretty much written about this at Car Scoops probably over a year ago now. Like the reality is that if you're buying a 3-row SUV, you're almost certainly better off buying a minivan. Almost exclusively. It almost doesn't matter what you're gonna do. If you're gonna buy a 3-row SUV, you should probably just buy a minivan. And that's because, like you said, the space is better, the doors are more practical, they drive better than most 3-row SUVs, they fit places better than most 3-row SUVs, better fuel economy. Like, there's just so many things that they do better than the average 3-row SUV. And I think the only caveats are, like, if you consistently go off-road. Yeah. If you consistently go off-road, that's a thing. You know what? I'm going to say this too. There's another caveat that I should mention that I'm actually like tinkering around with a story idea. In general, I'm going to go look it up for since we're here and talking about it. Minivans, the entire segment tends to be pretty bad in terms of safety. I don't believe that any minivan has won like an IIHS top safety pick of any sort this last year. And I don't know. Hold on.
I'm surprised by that because I would. You think that's because they kind of sit lower to the ground compared to SUVs, so any like side impacts, they actually go into.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know for sure. Let's see here. I can pull up. Here's a look at minivan ratings currently with IIHS.
Toyota Sienna, Hyundai Odyssey, Pacifica.
Yeah, we got all of them here. Sienna is the best as far as we can see based on this, but the moderate overlap front crash test, it only performs marginally. That's matched by the Honda Odyssey, or I'm sorry, matched by the Pacifica and the Kia Carnival. Side impact, Pacifica, Voyager, and Carnival are all only getting acceptable. Honda Odyssey actually gets a poor rating for moderate overlap on the front. Only the Sienna has, quote, good headlights. Carnival wasn't tested at all. Pacifica has poor headlights. Oh, I'm sorry. Voyager has poor headlights. Pacifica has acceptable. Odyssey has acceptable. Even the latch ease of use for Pacifica, Voyager, and Carnival is only acceptable. Like, it's kind of crazy to me. Front crash prevention for pedestrians, acceptable on all but the Carnival where it wasn't even tested. Like, it's kind of crazy to me that these do not get better ratings considering their family-focused, family-centric vibe.
Like more so than SUVs and trucks and sedans and anything else.
Right.
And they used to. My mom had an 03 Kia Sedona, and at the time, that was one of the marketing points. Like, oh, it's 5-star crash test ratings. But again, that old Kia, that thing was stout, man. That thing could take a hit. It was a tough old wagon. That's what it was. V6, really fast.
Yeah. Looking at Car and Driver, they ranked the safest minivans, and they only put 2 on the list. Sienna came in first, Odyssey came in second, and they didn't list the other three.
Huh.
So lots of safety concerns with minivans, so I could see that being a caveat as well.
I'm curious. I want to watch some crashes videos of minivans.
Yeah, maybe that's a big story idea.
Mhm.
What do we got coming next week, Jesus? We both have cars we haven't talked about, so we can talk about what we're driving now.
During your little hiatus, I did mention that I'm driving the CX-90 from Mazda, which I'm going to drive this weekend. But the model that I drove when it first came out, 2024, I thought it was really impressive in terms of luxury, economy, space for everybody. I don't like the rear bubble top thing because it looks like they just added. It looks like a mobile home where they added to it. I don't really like that, but that's the biggest model you can buy in the market right now. So it is the flagship model, so it has to be a bit bigger. So we'll see how. I'm really curious because right now I'm focused on MPGs to see how much range you can get out of this on a on a 1 day road trip.
Sounds great to me. I've never been in the CX-90. Big fan of the CX-5, CX-50 though, so I expect that'll be good as well. And yeah, I'm piloting the latest Jeep Grand Cherokee. Today they announced that the Grand Cherokee is going to get the Trailhawk treatment later this year. I've just got the limited, or no, I've got the Summit, I think, which is fantastic. But we can talk more about both of those next week after we've got some time in them. Anything else coming up that you know of, Jesus?
No, nothing. At least no events, no trips planned, which is fine because it's expensive to travel right now. So
yeah, I hear you there, bro. Well, thank you so much, everyone who have hung out for this episode, despite the technical difficulties. Apologies for that. Please like our video, our podcast. Give us a rating. Give us some comments. Let us know what you want to see. Let us know what you want to hear about. And thank you so much for spending your time with us this week. We'll see you next week.